Dan. David, good luck. Thanks. Randy, how you doing? Welcome home. Let's give Randy a hand. Welcome Randy home. Randy, it's game time. It is with a great deal of pleasure and honor that been given this opportunity to welcome Randy Allen into the prestigious Blair County Hall of Fame. Randy and I go back a lot of years. There's a story that was when Randy was at Garfield Elementary that he was in English class. He was just in second grade, and he's in class one day and he starts frantically waving his hand. And the teacher looks at him and ignores him, and there's Randy still raising his hand. And she said, "Yes, Randy." She says, "I ain't got a pencil." This is English class, you know, and the teacher looks at Randy and says, "Randy, I have no pencils. You have no pencils. We have no pencils. They have no pencils." And Randy, with a puzzled look, looks at the teacher and says, "Well, then who in the hell has all the pencils?" But anyway, when I first came to Altoona, I met Randy in 1968. And I've been told about this great point guard player that was a junior. So Randy and I had a couple misunderstandings right off the start, but they weren't too bad. I wanted to instill the pressing and the running game at Altoona High School, and I loved the break. I loved the Boston Celtics, and I was brought up under a fast-breaking system, and we were going to run whether Randy liked it or not. So we're at this game, and Randy's running the break. And I wasn't particularly fond of his choices at the end of the break. In other words, he was throwing it to the wrong person. So I watched it, and I watched it, and I watched it, and I called timeout. I said, "Randy," you know, in a nice, calm tone of voice. I said, "You're throwing the ball to the wrong person." "Okay, coach." So he goes back out, and he does it several more times. I call timeout. I said, "Randy, look." I said, "You're not getting the picture." I said, "Think about who you're going to throw the ball to and throw it to the opposite guy." And Randy gave me one of those looks, and the game continued, and he did the very same thing. Now, I was a patient, mild-mannered coach. And when he did it, I said, "Randy." Everything got silent, and I'm not really going to tell you what transpired after that. Now, if Randy chooses, he can do it. But Don Witherspoon and Randy and I were sitting down last night spinning some yarns, and when Randy told Don Witherspoon what happened, Don Witherspoon said, "Randy, you should have called the NAACP." And then one other quick human interest story. I used to train Beagle dogs, and one day I convinced Billy Moore and Randy Allen to go to the Beagle Club with me. So on the way up to the Beagle Club, we're joking, and Randy says, "I can't wait to see those beetle dogs run." I said, "They're not beetle dogs, Randy." I said, "They're Beagle dogs." So we got up to the Beagle Club, unloaded the dogs, got about 200 yards through the gate. Billy and Randy are behind me. And Randy said, "Coach, are there any rattlesnakes here?" I said, "Just a few, Randy." And I heard this noise behind me, and there was a cloud of dust, and I looked over my shoulder, and there were Billy and Randy. They were just streaking back to the gate. And I went back, and I tried to convince them that rattlesnakes wouldn't hurt you, but they wouldn't listen to me. And so my dog training days were over for that day. But this guy Randy Allen, we all know of him as a great athlete. Oh, Quad A All-State first team, All-American in Indiana, a great, great athlete. But I'd like to tell you this, that Randy Allen is an even greater human being. Any father would be proud to have their son grow up and emulate Randy Allen. He's one in a million. Life hasn't always been a bed of roses for Randy Allen. A lifelong dream to play in the NBA. The last one cut by the Phoenix Suns. Most people would have been devastated by it, but not Randy Allen. Randy Allen went on to have a very successful career with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He has a great family. He's overcome a lot of adversity. And I could go on and talk for hours about his athletic accomplishments. But I think that this little verse or philosophy of life that I've tried to make a part of my life, both as a human being and as a coach, best describes Randy Allen. And it goes something like this. "'Tis easy to be a starter, lad, but are you a sticker too? 'Tis often fun to begin a thing, but harder to see it through. Sometimes when you've failed, when you've done your very best, don't take it too much to heart. Just try again in a different way, for it depends upon how you start. For sometimes failure is best, dear lad, to keep you from being too sure. Success, which is built on defeat, you know, will oftentimes endure. 'Tis a sticker who wins the battle of life, while the quitter is laid on the shelf. You are never defeated. Remember this, till you lose faith in yourself." And without further ado, let me introduce a guy who I have a very special love for. A very special love for. It will always remain. Randy, welcome to the Blair County Hall of Fame. We love you. What a guy, Randy Allen.